Here's a question I ask every business owner I sit down with, and almost nobody has a real answer. If something happened to you tomorrow, how long will it take your family to actually get their hands on usable money? Not what's your net worth. I mean actual spendable cash in their account this month. Most people pause because they have spent years building assets, the business, the property, maybe some investments, but almost no time thinking about how those assets convert into something their family can actually live on if they are suddenly not around. This is the gap I want to walk you through today because it catches business owners and high net worth individuals more than anyone else, not because they are careless, but because they have been taught to measure success in asset value, not in liquidity. Here's the problem. A business isn't cash. Property isn't cash. Even investment accounts can be frozen or tied up. The moment something happens to you, all of that becomes part of your estate. And your estate has to go through a legal process before your family can touch any of it. That process, probate, or in the Islamic context, the distribution under Faraid, is not fast. It can take 6 months on the quick end and well over a year if there's any complexity. Multiple properties, a business with partners, disputes between beneficiaries, or unclear documentation. Meanwhile, your business still needs to pay staff. Your family still needs to pay for school, for the mortgage, for daily life. And all of that has to happen before a single ringgit from your actual estate becomes available to them. This is the part almost nobody plans for. Not because the money isn't there eventually, but because eventually doesn't pay this month's bill. This is exactly what Hibah is designed to solve. Structured correctly, a Hibah-linked Takaful plan lets you name a beneficiary directly and the payout can reach them in a matter of weeks. Completely separate from the estate process. It doesn't replace your will or your estate planning, it sits alongside it, specifically to cover that 6 to 12 months gap where your family and your business need cash flow, not paperwork. I go through actual numbers for different asset levels and business structure over at keithwong.my. If you want to see what this gap might realistically look like for your own situation, that's a good place to start. No pressure, just the numbers. Let's look at what this actually looks like in practice. For a business owner, this means structuring coverage that's sized against real obligation, not a round number, but your actual monthly burn rate, outstanding loans, and how many months your family and business would need to stay stable while the rest of your estate is being settled. For some clients, this is straightforward personal plan. For others, especially with business partners involved, it ties into a proper buy-sell or key person structure so the business itself doesn't collapse if one owner is suddenly gone. The application process itself is usually simpler than people expect. Most plans don't require an extensive medical workup, and everything can be handled without multiple in-person meetings. The two things I hear most: number one, I already have insurance through my company. This is often true, but company coverage usually ends the day you leave or the company changes hand, and is rarely sized for your actual personal or business exposure. And number two, I'll deal with this once the business is more stable, which I understand, but the risk doesn't wait for your business to be ready. The gap I described exists whether you are prepared for it or not. The only choice is whether your family is covered when this happens. If you have built something worth protecting, it's worth 20 minutes to see exactly where your gap is and what closing it will actually cost. I'm a licensed financial advisors representative here in Malaysia, and you can book a straightforward, no-pressure consultation at keithwong.my. Links in the description. Sediakan payung sebelum hujan, prepare the umbrella before it rains.